Hi there, Michael Bovee with ConsumerRecoveryNetwork.com, and I'm back to talk more about credit counseling and hardship repayment plans. In fact, what's the difference between a hardship repayment plan and credit counseling? They're very similar, actually. One of them is an opportunity to get a lower payment, monthly payment, right from your creditor, the hardship repayment plan. And the other is working with a professional that can go and get those things accomplished for you. There are good things and bad things to consider about the hardship repayment plan. When you're working with a creditor, most of the larger national banks, Citibank, Bank of America, Chase, Wells Fargo, US Bank, these kind of, Amex, Discover, Capital One. These larger issuers typically have answered the economic downturn and people falling behind on their credit card payments by stepping up the offers that they'll make to you as soon as you fall behind. And here's a key point, by the way, let's stop here. Hardship repayment plans are offered to people who are late in payments. If you call your bank and are saying, hey, I am not going to be able to make my payment next week when it's due, what do you got for me? What you've just done is signaled that you're somebody who is now a higher risk. So whatever balance you have, I mean, look, they can respond to your request, number one, with a no, because you haven't missed a payment yet. There's no reason until you give them a reason for them to offer you anything nicer than what you're paying them. So they may respond to you, one, with a no, two, by closing your account, three, by reducing your available limit to what you owe, and consistently doing that as you continue to make payments, and you may have never even missed one, okay? So you might have made that payment a week later and turned your situation around and kept those payments up. But that one call can really screw you up. So be aware that hardship repayment plans do require you to be late. Sometimes as much as even a month or two late before that specific creditor may offer you a reduced interest plan where they'll re-age your account. They'll bring it current, even though you're not going to make the payment up to what you owed and missed over the month or two. They'll re-age it for you. Similar to a credit counseling agency, they can do the same thing for you. One of the issues with hardship repayment plans is the more creditors you have, the more of them you got to call. The less, or let's put it this way, the smaller the lender, credit unions, store cards, gas cards, they may never make a hardship repayment plan available to you. Hardship repayment plans take on different shapes and sizes. So if you're working with a large credit card issuer, they may have a policy that they'll offer you only temporary hardship plans where they'll reduce your interest rate down to even 1.9, sometimes even 0, but assume between 0 and 8%, 9%. And they'll drop it down for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. And then, you know, the expectation is that once that time period's over, you're back to where you were. That was a temporary hardship and you're back on your feet. They won't offer it to you again. And then there's other national lenders, credit card lenders, that will take your balance, reduce your interest rate. They'll amortize your balance over 60 months or 5 years. So now you've got a life of the balance hardship plan. Sometimes you have to renew it every year and they'll remind you. Sometimes it's just set up for the full 60 months. You miss one of these payments on a hardship plan, you're back to where you started. And so definitely commit to one of these things in the same way that we continuously warn people to consider when and why they should enroll in a credit counseling program, very similar to these hardship arrangements. Because if you miss a payment, you lose the benefits for all that months of time that you were enrolled in a hardship plan. You paid X amount of dollars only to no longer be able to maintain that 7 months later. You've got 7 months of time wasted on a solution that didn't work, and 7 months of money that may have helped you succeed in settlement or paid for, you know, the entire bankruptcy process. So be sure when you're engaging in a hardship repayment structure with a creditor that you can do on your own, that you generally know what your income's going to be, that it's dependable and consistent. Now, let's back out to something. I said that some creditors will not offer these hardship plans. So for somebody who has maybe just 2 or 3 accounts and they're with major, large banks, national credit card issuers, you're probably okay to attempt to work with those creditors on your own and see what kind of monthly payment arrangement you can make. if you have multiple creditors, say 9, 10, 12, and some of them are the smallest of creditors, like I said, store cards, department stores, gas cards, small regional banks and credit unions, they may have no structure or system or policy for offering you these hardship plans. However, they do have a history of working directly with credit counseling agencies. So here's another way to get the same thing, to get that lower monthly payment, as opposed to doing it on your own. It might be more complicated, some won't give it to you, and you need that structure where all of them are fitting together into this nice, neat one payment. Credit counseling fits that bill. So if you're interested in speaking with a credit counseling agency, most of them are nonprofit. There's about 300 of them around the nation. I prefer one in particular for very good reasons. They're a national firm. They're out of Massachusetts, and you can reach them online. Just go to cambridge-credit.org, or you can pick up the phone and talk with them today and find out from a counselor what your monthly payments can be reduced to, as opposed to calling all your creditors yourself. You can do it with one phone call. Talk to a counselor today, and you can hit them at 888-948-4425. This is Michael Bovee for ConsumerRecoveryNetwork.com. Thanks for tuning in to Hardship and a little bit of credit counseling information. I'll see you on the next video.